Hey guys, welcome to the Bruce Williams channel. In this review, we are going to take a look at two different Squale Sub 3920 Corso Italiano divers that were produced by Squale for Wutta Watches. Wutta Watches is an authorized dealer. They are a small corner brick and mortar watch and accessory store in South Korea. And I'd like to shout them out briefly before we get to the presentation. They've been really great to work with. They've sent one watch for me to give away and one I'm just borrowing for this presentation. And they've been actually really courteous. They took a picture from my Instagram of me and two of my daughters, and they recreated it. They colorized it. They did it, on a handwritten thank you note. They've just been really cool to work with, and they do ship globally. And these two watches are exclusive to Wutta Watches. And again, they were designed by Wutta Watches and produced by Squale. This is the 3920 Subino case. This is based off of the 34mm Subino case that Squale produced famously for Blancpain for the 50 Fathoms, and also some for Waltham in the late 1950s and the early 1960s. And so I like that history. It's different, when you see a micro brand produce a 50 Fathoms homage. I'm not trying to say that's right or wrong. I know some of you that watch me are very opinionated on that. But personally, I think there is more credence, there's more relevance. It's funner when that brand doing an homage to a watch, produced decades ago from another brand, when they actually have some history, when they designed the cases for the 50 Fathoms for Blancpain all those decades ago. It was a different scene back then when it comes to watch manufacturing. Nowadays, I think the ideal is to have one brand do everything in-house, make the cases, make the crystals, make the dials, even manufacture the lume compounds and the oils for the movement. Very, very few brands are almost exclusively in-house. There are still some specialized manufacturers that produce things for a number of different brands. But back, in the late 1950s and early 1960s, that was the norm and it wasn't frowned upon. Squale produced cases for a number of different brands, but again, most famously for Blancpain with the 50 Fathoms. And so that's why I think this homage here, this Sub 3920 Corso Italiano, carries some weight because of the history. I find that pretty fun personally as a watch enthusiast. Now this again is not 34mm like that original Subino case. This has been slightly upsized to 39mm. And personally, I can wear 34, I can wear 44. There's a wide range of sizes that I'm comfortable with, but I think most watch enthusiasts, the sweet spot is about 40mm. And so this one being 39mm, again, I think that's the right decision. It's a little bit wider at the bezel than it is at the case. We have a coin edge bezel. The diameter here is 40.6 millimeters. We have a 47.6 millimeter lug-to-lug dimension and an overall case height from the back of the closed case back to the top of the double-domed sapphire crystal of 12.7 millimeters. So it's actually just a hair thinner than my Rolex Submariner. Very comfortable on wrist, nice size, nice proportions, and some good light play. I really like this anti-reflective treatment on the underside only of the sapphire crystal. Yes, because of the shape, you do see that smoky ring around the dial circumference, very similar to an Omega Speedmaster Professional Sapphire Sandwich, but very nice wrist presence. In fact, I really like wearing this on polished Milanese mesh because I'm a bracelet fan. You guys know that. But that bracelet, that mesh, it works really well with this angular, all polished Subino case with the angular diamond screw down crown. It doesn't ruin that vintage or that traditional dive watch aesthetic. And again, I like the presence here. We have 20mm for the lug width. The watch head only is just shy of 70 grams, and we have 300 meters of water resistance. Now let's go in on the dial. I'm going to go back and forth between the two different divers. We have the Squale Shark logo above the 6 o'clock position on both of these divers. Both will have polished beveled hands with a printed triangle mixed with Arabic indexing. And I've got to say, when I'm doing macro video, it doesn't matter if I'm filming a $500 watch or a $5,000 watch. I can find imperfections. But with this, you guys can see it's very tidy, it's very clean. There is good execution on a macro level. And that's refreshing to see as someone that films a lot of watches under the macro lens. We have a hardened K1 mineral crystal over the bezel insert material here. The main crystal is sapphire, but the bezel crystal cover is hardened K1. Within the case, we have an ETA 2824-2 movement that is very easily serviced. It's a common movement. It's well respected. We have 38 hours of power reserve, and the beat frequency is 4 hertz. Now, here's the thing that I want to mention. Because we have a no-date execution on both of these watches, we still have the date, or at least the ghost position in the crown, and that can be frustrating. I know some of you really dislike that. Others, it's not a big deal. I just thought it was worth mentioning. Now let's take a look at, we'll do one at a time. We'll start with the Corso Italiano. This one retails at $1,599. It comes with a different presentation box. This is actually Japanese cypress. It's handcrafted. It's called a Hinoki wood presentation box with a dark stain, and it's surprisingly small, actually. You're surprised that the watch can fit within it. And I will say, if you're wearing this on mesh like I like doing, you're not going to be able to fit this within the case. You have to put this on a pliable strap, either this shell Cordovan that it's on, or a NATO strap or whatnot. Just be aware of that. But I like this wood presentation box. It's nicer than other boxes that you would find at around $1,500. I'm looking at brands like Longines and Tag Heuer and Seiko. This is actually pretty dang cool. Now, this specific color iteration is limited to 500 units. And if you flip the watch over and take a look at the closed case back, you guys can see it's individually numbered. And this one is number 131 out of 500. And this is the one that I've secured for the giveaway. Now, this watch will come with old radium superluminova. So in low light, it glows green. It has that brighter tone, that greenish hue. But in natural light, it's warm, it's tan, it's light. It's made to look like radium would look after decades of being in use. And so I know some of you hate old radium lume. Some of you, it's just a color. But again, I feel it's important to mention the lume. We have a Horween shell Cordovan leather strap with tack stitching. This is made in Chicago, Illinois, here in the United States. If you guys look at the back of the strap, you guys can see that stamp there. And then on the other side, the other part of the strap, you guys can see the Squale logo. The nice thing with Wada watches is you specify the length if you purchase one of their pieces, and so you can get the longer length, the shorter length, and that's a nice touch. On the buckle, you guys can see the Acier branded Tropic style buckle. That is a period authentic design, and I think it's a nice little detail that helps the overall watch to a small degree. Now let's take a look at the other version here, the Artico, the white dial. This one comes in at $1,499 retail price, so $100 less than the Corso Italiano. And this one is actually more limited. It is limited to 300 units. And if we look on the numbered case back, this is number 58 out of 300. Now this one will come with Superluminova ABL C3. So essentially we have C3, but done in that bright blue tone, that cyan aqua tone. You think, looking at this in low light, you're looking at BGW9, but it's actually C3. So it has awesome potency. It doesn't quite have the longevity of BGW9, but really the potency in low light is very satisfying. And looking at the two side by side, you can see the Artico lume application really just, it's way better than the old radium of the Corso Italiano. This one comes on the black Phenomenato strap. And like the other strap option, you can specify the length, which again is a nice detail. And I like Phenomenato. This is a seatbelt style. It's very similar in quality to what you get from Omega with their OEM NATO straps. We have a sliding keeper and nice hardware here. So yeah, this one, a black Phenomenato. And it doesn't come with the Japanese cypress box. This one will have a traditional leather watch pouch with the Squale branding. Nothing wrong with that, just a little bit different. I know some of you would prefer one over the other, but just be aware the Artico comes with the leather watch pouch. Now let's surmise this, talk about negative elements, and I'll mention the giveaway here at the end of the video. But again, I'm a bracelet fan. I like these watches on the polished Milanese mesh. And I will say, if I'm going to spend $1,400, $1,500, $1,600 on a watch, I'd like a bracelet, or at least an option for a bracelet instead of these straps, which are nice. I like Phenomenato. I like Horween Shell Cordovan quite a bit. But I think it's just the value seeker within me as a watch enthusiast. I'd like to see a bracelet. I mentioned you can see the smoky ring in the bezel, or sorry, in the crystal here, the sapphire crystal. Some of you will dislike that. I don't mind it. I've been an owner of a sapphire sandwich for years, and so I can live with that. But again, it's something to be aware of. And then the only other thing I find kind of silly to mention, but the winding action isn't pleasant. And part of it is just due to the stiffness of the 2824, but more so it's the sharpness of this diamond-shaped screw-down crown. So with my large fingers, it's almost slightly painful to wind and to set the time, but maybe I just need to toughen up, right? Let's continue here. Very good dial cleanliness, the nice execution, the great versatility, decent tactile action, and I like that vintage or that traditional dive watch aesthetic, and it's cool that I'm buying it from a brand, or I'm getting it from a brand that has that history of producing cases for, you know, those vintage 50 fathoms from Blancpain. Let's talk about the giveaway. Again, one of them I'm just borrowing. They have to go back. The other one I get to keep. They've gifted to me in exchange for this review. And I hope you guys have seen that I haven't shied away from mentioning any specific negative elements or potential drawbacks, from that smoky ring to the ghost position to the sharpness of the winding action. But overall, these are really solid. They're really fun. And I've tried hard here to be, I guess you could say, objective in this presentation. But again, we're going to give away the 3920 Corso Italiano in the Hinoki wood presentation box. What you have to do is be a member of my Discord group. Every month I do a giveaway. And it's usually a watch gifted to the channel for review. Sometimes it's watch swag. I'm working into getting some other stuff for giveaway. Some months we do more than one giveaway, but at least one per month. And you have to be a Patreon member to have access to the Discord, and that is $6 a month. We have a small community. I believe we're about 70 individuals, so we have at least a 1 in 70 chance every month that something really cool, like this Squale. Next month is going to be a Charlie Concorde automatic diver. But anyways, just be a member of the Discord, be a member of the Patreon, and you have access to all the giveaways, as well as, you know, interacting with all of us in the sales forums and all of that stuff. So all links will be in the description. Thank you very much. What a Watches. Again, you guys, you've been so enjoyable to work with, so courteous, so kind. And I like working with passionate watch enthusiasts, which I know you guys are. So links in the description. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.